For more than 20 years, John Cena stood at the center of professional wrestling. Not because he demanded that position, and not because he chased it, but because the industry slowly shaped itself around him. When eras changed, he adapted. When stars came and went, he stayed. And when the business needed certainty, John Cena became it. For decades, he told us one thing, that we couldn't see him. Yet now, for the first time, we're being asked to watch him leave. Not with fireworks, not with a dramatic retirement speech, and not with one final match announced months in advance. John Cena's retirement didn't arrive loudly. It arrived quietly, hidden inside moments many people didn't even notice at the time. Most legends announce their goodbye. They stand in the ring, thank the crowd, and close the chapter in front of everyone. John Cena chose a different path. His farewell didn't come all at once. It came in pieces. A return that fell shorter than expected. A match that ended without celebration. A moment where he stood in the ring a few seconds longer than usual. Looking around, taking it all in. At the time, it didn't feel important. Looking back, it feels deliberate. There was a time when John Cena felt invincible. No matter the opponent, no matter the odds, no matter how divided the crowd was, Cena always found a way to stand tall in the end. Championships followed him. Main events revolved around him. For better or worse, he became wrestling's constant. Fans argued about him, criticized him, even booed him loudly. But through it all, he remained. As long as John Cena was there, WWE felt stable. But then something began to change. Their wins didn't come as easily, and eventually they stopped coming at all. John Cena started losing matches clean, without excuses, without controversy. Younger stars beat him and moved on. Veterans outsmarted him and walked away. What made these losses different wasn't the result. It was Cena's reaction. He didn't protest. He didn't demand redemption. He accepted Italiano. In doing so, he showed something rarely seen from someone in his position. He understood that his role was no longer to dominate, but to prepare what came next. John Cena didn't just carry championships. He carried responsibility. During years when wrestling wasn't fashionable, when ratings dropped, and when pressure mounted, he showed up. Week after week, city after city. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. For millions of fans, especially younger ones, Cena wasn't just a performer. He was a symbol, a promise that effort mattered, that resilience mattered, and that giving up was never the answer. For a long time, the crowd didn't know what to do with him. Arenas echoed with dueling chants, half cheering, half booing. But near the end, something shifted. The noise changed. The anger faded. The chants softened. The crowd realized they weren't reacting to a character anymore. They were reacting to time. And time was finally catching up to someone who once felt permanent. As his appearances became less frequent, every moment began to feel heavier. Every entrance felt longer. Every exit felt more final. There were matches that didn't look special on paper but carried enormous meaning in hindsight. Cena would stand in the ring after the bell, not posing, not celebrating, just looking around. Lights, crowd, the place that had been his home for most of his life. Those weren't pauses. Those were goodbyes. Some believe John Cena left wrestling for Hollywood, but Hollywood wasn't an escape. It was an evolution. It allowed him to grow without erasing where he came from. Even as his career expanded beyond the ring, he never distanced himself from wrestling. He spoke about it with respect. He returned when he could. And every time he did, it felt less like a comeback and more like a visit from someone who had already made peace with leaving. What John Cena's retirement truly represents isn't just the closing chapter of a legendary career. It's the end of something far more intangible: certainty. For nearly 2 decades, no matter how chaotic the wrestling world became, there was always one constant: titles changed hands. Eras rose and collapsed. Heroes turned villains and villains found redemption. But through it all, John Cena remained. He was the fixed point in a business built on unpredictability. Knowing he could walk through the curtain at any moment brought a strange kind of comfort, like gravity itself holding everything in place. Now, the ring is filled with extraordinary talent. The athleticism is sharper. The stories are deeper. The future is undeniably bright. And yet, something feels different. The space feels wider. The silence feels heavier. Because John Cena wasn't just another star sharing the spotlight, he was the axis around which everything spun. Even when fans resisted him, even when they booed louder than they cheered, even when they claimed they wanted someone else, the truth was unavoidable. The industry moved in relation to him. He defined the pace, the standard, the pressure. He was the measuring stick. Whether anyone wanted to admit it or not, John Cena didn't disappear. He didn't fade into nostalgia or cling to relevance. He completed his story the way few ever do on his own terms. No dramatic farewell tour. No forced final bow. No moment designed to beg for applause. Instead, he chose timing. It chose restraint. And in a world where legends often overstay their welcome, that choice speaks louder than any promo ever could. He understood that legacy isn't preserved by staying too long, but by knowing when the story has said everything it needs to say. For years, Cena was defined by effort. Relentless, uncompromising effort. The early mornings, the injuries worked through, the expectations carried on his shoulders night after night. He was asked to be the face of a global company, the role model for children, the villain to half the audience, and the hero to the other half all at the same time. And he did it without breaking character, without losing discipline, without ever stepping away from the responsibility. Wrestling demands more than it ever repaid, and Cena paid that price willingly for years. For decades, John Cena told us, "You can't see me?" It was a joke. But now, with the distance of time, we see everything clearly. The pressure masked by confidence. We see a man who gave his prime to a business that never stops asking for more. Legends don't always need one final match to say goodbye. Sometimes the bravest ending is simply knowing when the story is complete. This was the last time we couldn't see John Cena. His legacy stands unmistakably in full view. A taunt, a catchphrase. We see the sacrifice hidden behind the smile, the consistency that carried an entire era and still walked away with his integrity intact. Sometimes they don't need fireworks, speeches, or curtain calls, and having the courage to close the book. And now, with the ring moving forward without him, and so this isn't good, but it's perspective. John Cena didn't leave wrestling empty. He left it full of moments, full of standards, full of lessons that will echo every time someone steps through that. The curtain trying to carry the weight he once did. The ring will keep moving. New champions will rise. New eras will be born. But there will always be a line drawn in history where everything before and after is measured against one name. Some legends demand one last spotlight. Others become timeless by knowing when to step out of it. John Cena was never just someone you watched. He was someone you counted on. And even now, in his absence, that presence remains. If this video meant something to you, if John Cena meant something to your wrestling journey, take a moment to leave a like, share your favorite Cena memory in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that honor the legends who shaped this industry. Because we may not see John Cena in the ring again, but his impact will never fade.